Hello and welcome to ProtoBalls Talk. I'm ProtoMet.
This is my recycled balls.
And today we're talking about a movie.
Yeah, a movie. A movie. That's it. I'll tell you the plot of a movie. Stuff happened. Thanks everybody so much for watching.
See ya!
No. We're not that cheap.
No, today we're going to be covering the John Carpenter movie Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness.
Now, 1987 supernatural thriller, directed by John Carpenter, starring Donald Pleasance, Victor Wong, Jameson Parker, and Lisa Blunt.
And that's all from Wikipedia because he chose to pull up Wikipedia.
This time we're not gonna make mistakes, and we're not gonna be jumping from scene to scene.
The original intention for this video was to have a guest commentator, but things fell through, and he was actually supposed to be the one who was going to be talking through the plots of the actual plot points of the movie.
Both of us haven't seen the movie as much as he has.
Yeah, though admittedly we've seen it half as much as he has, and we've only seen it once.
So yeah.
So even he was gonna bring up the Wikipedia page to cover this one.
Prince of Darkness is an interesting film. For John in John Carpenter's chronology of films, this is shortly after he finished the major financial flop that was Big Trouble in Little China, which is such a good movie. It is an absolute shame, an absolute travesty that movie was not well received. And Big Trouble in Little China, I believe, was 84, 85. So John Carpenter was sick of doing Hollywood movies. He wanted to go back to being independent. And he pretty much wrote was inspired to do this movie based on a documentary about theoretical physics and quantum equations, and
which this movie has a lot of.
This movie has a lot of.
That having been said, don't think that this movie is like some super intelligent movie.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
Okay, so most of the characters are supposed to be smart, but it's a horror movie. Most of them are actually really dumb.
They're smart in their respective fields. When it comes to the making sense of a horror movie, they're kind of terrible.
Yeah. So yes, the movie stars Donald Pleasance and Victor Wong. For those of you who don't know who Victor Wong is, he's famous for Three Ninjas.
He was Walter Chang in Tremors. Rest in peace.
Walter Chang in Tremors. These two are kind of the headliners for the film, but they're not our main character. But we'll get to that in like a second. But I just wanted to get the base details down for this. So, John Carpenter and Alan Howarth did the music for it, and it's a great theme. Also in the movie, in a special cameo major role appearance.
A cameo major role. Yeah, no, that's not a major role.
Well,
he has a significant cameo, but it's really only just that.
Oh, it's a major role. It's important. Hush you. It's a cameo, but it's so important to the plot, okay?
So important to the plot that they decide to put his face on the cover of the DVD.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper is in this movie, and he did a song for Prince of Darkness, but it wasn't released until the next year. It can be heard. It can be heard faintly in one of the scenes, and we'll get to that scene in a bit. The budget was $3 million. They had $3 million to get Alice Cooper, who actually worked for free on this one. because he was going to do a song for it. They paid him for that, but he was willing to be in the movie because the producer, the producer, Larry J. Franco, was actually Alice Cooper's manager at the time as well. And John Carpenter liked one of Alice Cooper's parlor tricks during his stage shows, and was like, "Hey, can we use that?" And Alice Cooper was like, "Sure, if you give me a role." And John Carpenter was like, "Sure, we'll give you a big role." And that's why Alice Cooper's in this movie.
You can definitely tell that we're totally not looking at Wikipedia
Totally,
right now.
no.
Wait, we already revealed that. Shit.
Oh no.
Oh God,
no.
the secret's out.
But no, they had $3 million to get They had $3 million to get Donald Pleasance, Victor Wong, and Alice Cooper. So, I mean, kudos to them. The rest of the cast are pretty low-budget film stars. But, I mean, $3 million is not a lot of money in the film world. And they managed to pull it off, and they managed to get a box office of about $15 million, which is fair play and impressive. Considering it's one of John Carpenter's weaker movies.
A fun little story. I don't know how fun it is, but
it's a interesting.
This is a fun little tidbit. So I first encountered this movie in any form on a website called iMockery that did a synopsis / review of the movie, and yeah, that was my first experience with it. Now, iMockery, up until recently, had an annual 2 months of Halloween starting at the beginning of September, which actually explains why we're releasing this video so early. This is part of our 2 months of Halloween. You've probably seen My Recycled Balls on his channel doing a bunch of horror-themed games.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Sweet Home, Doom, and coming soon to a YouTube channel near you, Doom 2, eventually. I'm doing them all in succession, so it's not really much of a spoiler there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so why don't we get into the movie then?
Alright.
So the movie starts off, it goes at a cheetah's pace.
Starts with a pastor dying in his sleep.
Right away we got a pastor dying and he's holding a chest in his arms. Not like a tiny little storage chest.
Yeah, not like a huge fucking pirate treasure chest.
No.
It's like, no, just a tiny little chest. I think I have a chest that size.
No, not a woman's chest. That's wrong. The Catholic Church does not approve.
No comment.
No. There are plenty of comments.
No comment.
No. There are plenty of comments in this movie that are worse than that. We will get to them. You know the one.
Anyway.
So he dies, and the Mother Superior finds him.
And informs a pastor who works at the parish or whatever.
Works at the university.
Oh, university.
It's
played by Donald Pleasance.
And Donald Pleasance is actually really good in this movie, first and foremost.
But his priest character never is given a name.
No,
at least I don't remember.
He is never given a name. In the credits, he is called Priest.
So, for the duration of this video, we will be referring to him as Father Loomis.
Yeah.
I don't feel I need to explain anything, and if you feel that I do need to explain something, maybe watch a bit more of John Carpenter's work. Let's move on.
Right.
So, Father Loomis, he's shown this diary that the guy had, priest. Starts reading it.
And we next cut. So as he's reading it, he goes to an abandoned church in the middle of the hood, as we'll call it. As it's pretty much, like the middle of. I'm not really sure. The middle of the slums, I suppose, would be the word for it. So it's in this podunk little area that's completely trash, and there's a bunch of homeless people standing around. But he goes to the church. Okay, that's cool. He goes to the church. Goes to the church.
He just got a notification on his phone.
Yeah.
From which he's totally not reading from Wikipedia.
I'm not reading.
Not at this moment, no.
Not at this moment, because most of this is the beginning of the movie and it's not on there. But he goes to the church, opens up so the chest contained a key. First and foremost, he opened up the chest and it had a key, and he opens up the basement door inside the church. Goes downstairs and discovers
the coolest lava lamp ever.
He discovers the lava lamp, but we don't know that yet.
A huge ass lava lamp.
We don't know.
But we don't know that it's a lava lamp just yet.
Yeah, he's staring at it and he's wondering what the hell that is. And then we cut to our protagonist.
Now, in between, I think they kind of cut back and forth to between Father Loomis investigating dead pastor and
Professor Howard Biroc.
Howard Biroc,
who is played by Victor Wong,
giving a lecture at the university.
And you know, his speech is basically saying, hey, these are things that are supposed truths, but theoretical physics can theoretically disprove them.
Fun fact, when we were watching the movie and he got to a point where he said a second for you is the same as a second for everybody else, the fact that he was talking about how these truths are not really truths really went over my head, and I was like, but hey, time dilation.
And our esteemed colleague, Vampire Jekyll,
informed me that, that was the point of his lecture. It's like, oh.
Yeah. A lot of what...
So I murdered him. No. That's why he's not here.
That's why he's not here, yeah.
No, he's fine. He'll probably be in the next one.
But no, a lot of what he's saying, a lot of what these people are saying technically makes sense, scientifically, theoretically, because, I mean, it's
all theoretical physics,
It's
really.
all theoretical physics, so it's not totally inaccurate, it's just beyond the realm of plausibility, not beyond the realm of possibility, which is a very important distinction. Plausibility says that something is unlikely to happen. Possibility is
something that could happen.
Is something that could happen, yeah. But he's giving a lecture, and we're introduced to our main character. A pedophile! No, I'm kidding. But he has... God,
he has a porn stash.
He has a porn...
We're going to call him Porn Stash for the remainder of this movie.
His name's Brian Marsh, by the way.
We're going to call him Porn Stash for the remainder of the movie because the phrase you gave him is a little too much.
I called him Pedo Stash throughout the entire movie, and they were nonplussed by it. And you know what? I can understand why, but I mean, look at that mustache, okay?
I'm not going to show you that mustache. You are not ready for that mustache.
No, just take a look at some of the pictures of that film. Oh my God, what was he thinking having that mustache?
It was the 80s, man.
No, that looks like a 70s porn stash. I'm not kidding. That looked like Rick Rude had a bad mustache day.
But there's no denying the fact that the character probably could stand to be less creepy.
Okay, he could be less creepy, but I think the worst part about him is he's uninteresting. He's kind of boring.
Yeah.
A lot of these characters are boring.
It's definitely a case of more the situation that they find themselves in that drives the movie, and less the characters themselves. So, really the only ones who really stand out are Father Loomis and the Professor. And those guys are basically there for exposition and for the star power.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so, Porn Stash is really kind of creeping on this one lady.
Catherine Danforth.
I'll have to come up with some other name for her.
And she's played by Lisa Blunt. But, so the priest is talking with I believe are some cardinals, probably.
I think that might be while he's investigating.
Yeah, while he's investigating, but he's talking to some cardinals.
And we don't get to hear what they say.
It's a very lewd joke.
It's a very lewd joke. We'll come back to it later.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to hear it just yet.
You gotta wait, guys. You gotta wait for the punchline on this one. Oh, what a punchline.
Oh,
no, it's a joke. That's not actually what they're talking.
No. We're never actually privy to what they're saying, but
we get the idea.
We get the idea of
what
the what.
Yeah.
And
but,
I just when they were showing him talking to the Cardinals and not actually revealing anything to us, I just made the joke that he was telling a really lewd joke.
But so after about 5 or 6, what was it? 5 or 6 minutes of the priest's investigation and Birok's rants, we finally get some plot development moving on, or some actual like privy to what's going on, and Birok and the priest meet, and the priest takes Birok to the church, takes him into the basement. And
shows him this sick lava lamp!
Oh my god! Dude, you can put that over your bed, man!
So fucking metal!
Yeah! No, what it actually is, they don't know, they don't know what exactly it is.
So we'll not reveal it just yet.
We won't reveal it just yet.
We'll keep calling it that sick-ass lava lamp!
But all we know is that it is a weird thing, and it is older than we think it is.
Because apparently this group called, what was it?
The Brotherhood of Sleep.
The Brotherhood of Sleep. I thought it was the Order of Sleep, but I was misremembering.
It's the Brotherhood of Sleep.
I was misremembering. That sounds more accurate than what I thought it was.
And the Brotherhood of Sleep are an old sect of the Catholic Church that were hidden from the rest of the world for God knows what reason.
Apparently they were more powerful than the Vatican. The Vatican didn't even know they existed.
Yes. And I want you guys to think about this. So they find an old text that is apparently 7,000 years old. I just want to point out here, just one thing. This movie takes place in LA. It takes place in California. America was not discovered until the mid-1500s by Christopher Columbus, or if you want to be technical, by the Vikings in the 900s.
So yeah, America just simply didn't exist at the time this book was written, apparently.
But apparently it did exist.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
Shut up. Shut your whore mouth.
Anyway.
So
yeah, this sick-ass lava lamp is super old.
And Birok is just kind of surprised and confused by it.
I should also mention that the text that was found with the sick-ass lava lamp is in a number of different languages.
Okay, so it is in Greek, it is in Coptic, it is in Hebrew.
It's in Latin.
It is in number sequences.
It is a mess of languages that just cannot, on the surface, be deciphered just on its own.
And even worse, a lot of the writing that is underneath all that Greek, Coptic, Latin, whatever, mumbo-jumbo, a lot of that has been erased to the point where it is illegible. It was erased and written over so many times. So, we cut to a scene with Brian Marsh.
Pornstache?
With Pornstache, yes. Pornstache and Catherine Danforth. And they just got done banging.
I feel this is a bit rushed since we had previously mentioned that he was creeping on her. In between this scene that he just decided to rush into,
they were talking, but that's not really important.
They did talk. They went out to have a coffee at some point. They decided at a later point to go get another coffee, and then the next thing you know, they're together in bed the next morning.
But that's not really important. All you need to know is, hey, they're dating now.
Apparently.
apparently.
So it does raise the question of who the guy she was seen with earlier in the movie is.
Just some douchebag, probably.
Maybe, but...
So they go to class, and class is canceled.
Yeah, because it turns out they're doing some extracurricular activities this weekend.
Oh boy, and Walter, we finally meet Walter, or get an idea of how Walter is, and Walter is probably the second best character in the movie, fourth best character.
Is he the douchebag?
Yeah.
Oh,
he is amazing.
Like, for as much as we criticize how the characters are portrayed in the movie... Portrayed in this movie, this guy is one of the sole exceptions.
Oh, he's so good! He is genuinely... okay, throughout the movie, you're like, God, I really hope this guy dies. And then when shit goes down, you're like, well, shit, I hope he lives! he pulls a 180 on him where he's so dickish. He's so dickish, he becomes likable. And it's like, well, this is out of nowhere. This is a pleasant surprise.
So we're kind of introduced to his dickishness when he kind of questions why he even got into into theoretical physics, and then what was her name? Catherine, yeah. It's like, to develop weapons, to like particle weapons and stuff. Oh, right, so I can become a billionaire and retire at 30.
Which is actually a clever joke, because a lot of theoretical physicists don't even have jobs. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are hard pressed to even get employment.
But
it's such a diversified field, that it's almost impossible to get employment anywhere nowadays. This isn't like Black Mesa where, we'll hire all the scientists. And then when something goes wrong, they're like, well, you're all dead. Disposable. No, like, theoretical physics is kind of an invaluable field in the world today, because it dispenses so much knowledge about how the world is and what could be possible in the world, but has never been observed before. Theoretical physics is just that, theoretical, until it becomes real.
But yeah, it's at this point that the students of the professor learn that they're going to be taking part in an extracurricular activity over the weekend, which totally has which, if it's not super obvious, totally has everything to do with the sick-ass lava lamp.
Damn right. Oh God, it's so good. But yeah, they're all kind of complaining, and they're not happy, whatever.
But that's not important, because eventually they actually get to the church. I'm not gonna lie. The interim between them learning about the fact that they're going to the church and them arriving at the church, nothing significant really happens.
I've done a little bit of review. I've seen a couple reviews for this movie, and a lot of people in when the movie came out, a lot of people complained that the first half of the movie is really good, and that the second half gets really campy and bad. I highly disagree.
Yeah, I kind of feel that the second half of this movie was a lot better, but we'll get to that. We'll get to the why.
I just wanted to point out that the interim between it is just sort of kind of setting layer upon layer of character development. Like,
no, it's not. I barely know who most of these characters even are, let alone the intricacies of their lives. The only character I really care about is
Walter.
It's Walter.
Okay, so there's the priest there, there's Birak there, and then there's 13 other people, including, in that group, Walter, Brian, and, what's-her-face?
And some members of the group aren't even part of the, the professor's class.
No, they're not even part of the professor's.
They're like extra people that were brought in because the professor's class didn't have enough minds to cover all the bases.
So speaking of, so we have Walter, we have Walter, Brian, and Catherine, and then we have two other characters. I like to call the male Neckbeard.
I like to call him Keith Apicary because he reminds me of Keith Apicary.
Okay. Well, we'll call him Keith then. We'll call him Keith,
Yeah.
and then the other woman, who I don't know the name to, honestly.
You're not the only one. We'll talk about that later.
Her name is, oh God.
I think it starts with an S. Susan? Let's go with Susan.
Susan. God damn.
Maybe it's Sally. I'm going with Susan, though.
You know, Wikipedia's not really helping me out here.
Wikipedia will not solve all your problems. Do your research, kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they finally get to the church. Everybody all meets up. Da, 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 da. They start setting up the equipment down by the sick-ass lava lamp. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sick-ass lava lamp!
Yeah, we gotta do that.
Gotta even throw up the devil horns when doing it.
No,
you
it's
can't
not.
see it, but I'm throwing up the devil horns.
Yeah. I think it's Susan.
Fuck yeah. Keith Apicary, Susan, Porn Stash, other lady, and Walter.
And Lisa. Lisa's the one from the other class, from her class.
Okay.
Susan's the one. Okay, Susan is the one from their class, and Lisa is the topographer. Okay, let's get this right now. I want to get this all.
I at least remember Lisa.
Yeah.
Lisa was kind of cool.
Peter Jason is also in this movie. He's in a couple of other things, but he's really entertaining in this movie too. He's Dr. Paul Leahy. Or Leahy. Jesse Lawrence is also in this movie, and Calder. He's also highly entertaining in this movie. He's the black guy.
Ah, yes. Okay, we'll get to him soon.
Yes.
We will get to him.
but let's get into so there's 13 other people. There's the priest, Donald Pleasance. There's Brian Marsh, Professor Howard B. Rock, Catherine Danford, Walter, Kelly, Susan Cabot, Lisa, Lomax, Mullins, Calder, Dr. Paul Leahy, Frank Etchinson, and then Alice Cooper and the bag lady. But they're introduced a little bit later.
Don't worry if you don't remember all their names because I didn't.
Because it fucking seems it fucking seems like that John Carpenter forgot their names too. He fucking threw them to the wood chipper.
Yeah, what's
your name again? That's it. You're dead.
Yeah, the actual names of the characters really don't have any meaning. Nor really does it matter too much what they actually bring to the table in terms of scientific knowledge.
Okay, the main players that you should be caring about is
Pornstat is Father Loomis, Professor, Pornstash, Catherine, Walter, Lisa,
and Kelly.
Which one's Kelly? Kelly.
Yeah.
Right, Kelly. I completely forgot about her.
So we're introduced to all these characters, and they're all wondering what the hell's going on because
they take them down to the sick-ass lava lamp. Each
one, and this should be stated. I mean, we wasted a couple of minutes trying to get their characters right. It should be stated each one has their own specialty. I believe Lisa is the radiologist in this one.
It's super unimportant. Just move on.
Well, okay, but no. Well,
she's mentioned as being a radiologist a couple times.
Lisa's probably has the most important one. She's the topographer.
She's the one who is given the assignment of translating the book.
Yeah.
With the help of Catherine, who's working on the numbers and of it things. So they're working on translating the book. But Father Loomis takes everybody down to the basement to see the sick-ass lava lamp and basically explain the situation as he understands it. Or at least from what he's been able to gather. Apparently, this thing is super fucking old. Even older than the years.
Yeah, the Brotherhood of Sleep place it at about 7 millennia old.
just super fucking old.
Which is super fucking old. Mind you, this takes place in 1987. You take out 7,000 years, and that's before the time of Jesus Christ.
By a wide margin.
By a wide margin. Oh, let me actually do some math on that one. So 1987 minus 7,000, that's probably 6,987. Yeah. So that's before Egypt was even a thing.
But apparently,
Egypt is from circa 5,000 BC. So,
but yeah, no, this sick ass lava lamp was
No, you did it wrong.
The sick ass lava lamp. Sorry, my bad.
Good.
It's late. I'm getting tired. I'm falling asleep. No.
Oh shit.
No, he
well,
basically.
Looks like I'm doing this by myself.
Well, he basically explains to everybody that the Brotherhood of Sleep was basically watching over this thing, and that now it's their job to figure out just what the hell it even is.
Yeah, the Brotherhood of Sleep
or to at least gain scientific proof about what is inside the thing.
Yeah.
Which you would think that just looking at it, but like, I'm pretty confident he means like, no, we want the scientific data that proves this is what's in there.
Yeah. So they get to work, and
at one point Kelly bangs her elbow against one of the equipment when she sees the sick ass lava lamp.
There you go. And it leaves a bruise on her. So.
Which honestly, watching her bump into it, it didn't look like it would have hurt that much.
Seemed kind of forced, to be honest. You know.
And it kind of is, but
yeah.
We'll get to that later. It actually ends up growing into a more noticeable bruise over the course of the movie, and that's actually super important to the plot.
And I found out a fun fact when we get to it, but when we get there, I'll actually say that trivia for it.
But so yeah, they just kind of are there trying to do the stuff.
And some of them are just like, what the fuck is going on? We don't even know what the fuck this is, and I don't believe this bullshit.
And
I want to leave.
The homeless people are just kind of around
the
church.
We forgot about the homeless.
The homeless people just kind of wander around outside the church for a good long while leading up to this. So at one point, one guy goes outside.
Etchison goes outside.
And he finds a pigeon nailed to a tiny cross.
Which is actually an Alice Cooper prop. Fun fact.
Makes sense that Alice Cooper's the one who shows up and kills him with a bicycle.
Yeah, he gets like, this is I'm not gonna lie, if this happened in real life, it would be an absolutely terrifying.
Fucking terrifying.
So Alice Cooper walks up to him
with like half a bicycle,
and Etchison's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here," and he starts to go up the stairs, and the hobos have blocked the stairs. They're staring at him with their dead, beady eyes, and he turns back and he's cornered.
And then Alice Cooper stabs him with a bicycle.
True.
That is a thing that I said. I can't believe that is a thing that I could legitimately say and mean it.
Oh, he does it all the time.
Oh, does he stab people with bicycles?
That's a stage prop.
I was not aware of that.
That's the stage prop. That was the parlor trick I was referring to. So Alice Cooper has a little trick where during his shows he has a fake prop that's like stabbing people, impaling them. Yeah, that was that prop. They asked him if they could use that for
That makes a lot more sense now. But
yes.
Still, how fucking ridiculous is that?
In a movie, though.
Without any context that was even a thing going into it. I've never seen an Alice Cooper concert.
And, like, that's the most blood you'll see in this movie. For the most part, it's actually kind of a bloodless movie.
For the most part, until we get to one character, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Whoa, mama. Look,
we have
Freddy Krueger.
So, yeah, we have the second casualty of this movie. The first being the priest at the very beginning of the movie who, quite frankly, lucked out.
He was like, peace out, I'm out of this shit. I can't.
I just can't anymore.
Peace out, I'm not being part of this bullshit.
And then at one point, Susan, who who previously hadn't actually been down to see the sick-ass lava lamp, goes down to see the sick-ass lava lamp. I think I threw out my arm doing that.
The sick-ass lava lamp! Oh!
No. And
she meets up with Lomax, who's doing a bunch of stuff. Lomax is the neckbeard. Keith Apicary.
Okay. Gotcha.
And,
they're talking.
And they're talking, and it's a weird vibe in there. And Lomax is like, "Hey, you want me to wait for you before we go back up?" And Susan's just like, "No, dog, I'm good." Which is horror movie 101. That's the worst decision you could ever make.
Now, I feel I should mention that a little earlier in the movie, I don't think it was Susan. I think it may have been somebody else, but somebody is talking to Father Loomis and mentioning that while they're still dating the corrosion on this sick-ass lava lamp.
That was Susan.
Okay, that was Susan.
Yes.
On this sick-ass lava lamp, she comments on how the locking mechanism is actually... the locking mechanism of the sick-ass lava lamp is actually set up in such a way where it can only be opened from the inside.
Wee woo, wee woo.
So then jump ahead to her encountering the sick-ass lava lamp again.
And meanwhile, everybody else is upstairs, and
she's down there with the sick-ass lava lamp.
And Lisa has transcribed some parts of it. And according to this, Jesus is not human. He's an alien. What? And apparently this thing is the son of the anti-god.
This thing is Satan, the son of the anti-god. Which, when I read that on the back of the box, is like, what?
It makes a lot more sense when it's explained later in the movie.
Yeah, it does actually.
It's actually really interesting the way it's done
in the movie. Just without the context of the movie, just reading it on the back of the DVD case, I was like,
yeah.
What?
You what, mate?
What?
Yeah.
But so yeah, anti-god. That's a thing. The thing in the sick-ass lava lamp.
It's Satan.
Apparently.
Which is apparently a microscopic
life form?
A microscopic life form that influences whatever it touches.
And so back with us.
Doesn't that sound familiar? We'll get to that later.
So meanwhile, back down in the basement with the sick-ass lava lamp. Susan's watching this sick-ass lava lamp.
And she notices something's leaking out of it.
She notices that something is leaking out of the sick-ass lava lamp to the ceiling.
Okay, that's it. We're putting a limit on the sick-ass lava lamp count.
I had to do it as much as I could.
We're going to do 5 times only, okay? 5 times.
I'm pretty sure we've exceeded that.
We're going to do it 5 times from now. For each of us, okay?
But she notices that something's leaking out of it, but it's dripping upwards towards the ceiling.
So you know how
and forming a pool.
You know how the laws of gravity say that water drips down? Yeah, well, it's dripping up, and it's forming a pool in the ceiling. And that's kind of weird. And then it sprays at her and gets in her mouth.
It sprays her mouth. No, I'm not even gonna go with that joke. I'm not even gonna go with that joke. That one's too easy. I wasn't even gonna go that far. I was gonna go for something even lewder. But that's too easy. Just use your She gets sprayed with a spritz of water.
Shower?
No. Oh. But you're getting close. That might actually be worse. Let's move on.
So it lewded up on her. And she's choking on it.
And she collapses to the floor.
Yikes. Okay. We're gonna need a segue out of that one.
So then Keith Apicary decides to show up at some point to go check on. No. That's not what happened.
That's not what happened. So they're still talking.
They're still talking. At some point, Walter. I don't know if he's trying to hit on Lisa or something, but
Oh yeah, Walter's definitely trying to hit on Lisa, and she's like, "Hey, you could pass for Asian too," and she's completely offended by this because I think she's supposed to be like Native American or something.
Honestly, I did think she was Asian before that comment came out. I was like, wait, she's not Asian? Oh, now I feel super awkward.
Yeah, and this is where Walter shines through. He's such an asshole, but
He's such an asshole.
But he's so likable. He was like, "This is bullshit. I could have been having a date. I could be getting laid." And so instead of getting laid outside of the church, he's gonna try and get laid in the church.
And so I think just before
and it fails spectacularly.
I think just before Walter starts talking with Lisa, he happens to see Susan in the hallway, just kind of standing there.
He happens to see Susan standing there, and he's like, "Hey, Susan, hey, do you want a beer or something?" And she doesn't say anything.
She doesn't respond. She's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Goes in.
Lomax comes by.
Keith Apicary shows up looking for Susan. Walter's like, "Nah, no, she's just out in the hall." It's like,
What are you talking about?
No, she's not.
Well, she was right there.
So Keith Apicary goes to go look for Susan and finds her in the basement with the thing that I'm not allowed to say anymore. By my own rules. I'm not going to call it that anymore.
You're not going to call it that sick-ass lava lamp?
I'm going to call it the sick-ass lava lamp of Satan.
Okay. Glad we had that squared away.
So yeah, Keith goes down, finds Susan with the sick-ass lava lamp of Satan. I'm counting that with the previous one since it's recapping.
Fine.
And then Susan breaks his neck.
Yeah. Susan's just casually. He's just like, Susan, where are you? And Susan shows up right behind him like Rambo and just...
she Rambos that shit.
And he's just...
Solid snakes that shit.
He solid snakes that shit.
She solid snakes that shit. I think at one point, one guy goes outside and is repeatedly stabbed by...
Not yet.
Oh.
Not yet.
Okay. It's getting close, though, right?
It's getting close,
It's getting close. So, yeah, Keith Apicary's dead.
Yeah, Lomax is dead. And for the sake of convenience, Susan's dead, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that something is not right with her.
So then we cut to the scene.
With the dude who goes outside?
Yeah, it's Mullins.
It's a dude whose name isn't important. He goes outside, encounters a hobo lady that stabs him to death with like half a garden shear.
Yeah, so they're talking. So it's Mullins, Calder, and another character. I believe it's Frank. They're talking outside, and what they're talking about is, hey, this is bullshit. We should just leave.
Yeah, they're contemplating leaving.
And Calder has the best reaction to this. He's like, do you even understand what's going on? We're on the cusp of something. We're on the cusp of making a historic find here. Why won't you come stick with it? And, and Mullins is just like, I don't believe this bullshit. I think I'll leave. So Calder and Frank go inside.
And it leaves the last guy there to encounter the hobo lady who repeatedly stabs him to death with half a garden shear.
As Susan is watching, and he's got a bunch of roaches on him.
Oh yeah, he just gets covered in bugs. This will be important later, trust me.
Yeah.
Anyway, back into the church.
It comes back later, and it's actually really good.
What happens next?
Yes. So Susan is all tired Lisa.
Lisa's all tired. At some point, Catherine saw her bruise and saw that.
What happens next? What happens next is we're getting a dream sequence.
Oh yeah, a dream sequence.
Yeah, so there's a subplot going on
where there's a subplot in the movie that gets explained a little later on in the movie where we're getting what is basically a broadcasted dream.
From the future!
The future!
Apparently from the year 1999.
That doesn't get revealed until the very end of the movie, though.
Yeah. for most of the movie, we don't know what year it is.
I honestly don't really think that it's too significant.
It's
outside of the whole Nostradamus prophecy bullshit, which the movie itself doesn't even mention, so...
And, you know, and I'll get into it a little bit. I'll get into it near the end, because this is something I really want to tackle. Because, as great a filmmaker as John Carpenter is, this makes absolutely zero sense, and I will tackle it near the end of the movie when we get there. But yeah, so Walter wakes up and he's like, "God damn, that was
it was in the middle of the dream. I think at that point the dream was starting to rattle off the year.
Yeah,
and then
and Walter woke up and he's just like, "God damn it, fine." So then,
Walter is super not happy to be here.
So then Lisa goes to lie down, and she's by herself. And who should be in the room already?
Hold up. Walter leaves the room.
Yeah.
The door closes, and Susan was behind the door the whole time. The whole time. That was creepy. Mm-hmm. That was very well done. That was a very well done reveal.
So then Susan climbs onto Lisa.
And
while she's in bed, so innuendo.
Insert lewd innuendo here, and insert lewd innuendos all over her face. All over her face.
All over her face.
Into her mouth. That's a fact. That happens.
That did in fact happen.
Oh God. So yeah, now we can effectively count Lisa as among the casualties.
Yeah. So yeah, Lisa's dead now, but not out. She's down, but not out.
And so, in the midst of her she goes back to the computer she was doing the translations on and just starts repeatedly typing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
And Calder happens upon her, and he's like, "Hey, Lisa, there's a meeting in a couple of minutes." Oh yeah, but before that, so Kelly has been feeling worse and worse. Now, and the bruise has been getting worse, and Catherine takes a look at it, and she notices a mark on that bruise, and she's like, that's not good."
But yeah, so at this point in the movie, all the scientists, for the most part, are going to come together and have the meeting to kind of discuss, now that we've been given this information about anti-God, should we stick around?
Yeah.
Some of them are feeling we should probably get the hell out of Dodge. As soon as we can, preferably.
But I wanted to mention the mention the mark on Kelly
because it's important.
Not only is it important, it is actually the Blue Oyster Cult logo. Fun fact! Did not know that. Thank goodness I read retrospectives on the movie.
Okay, he went into this far more research than I did. I just watched the movie.
Yeah, I kind of like to know. I like to know what's going on and why. See, I want to know why things were done a certain way instead of just what happened. You know.
Fair point.
But so Kelly's all sluggish. She's real tired, and
she goes to lay down,
and she begs Catherine for sleep, and Catherine's just like, "Well, we have a meeting in like half an hour. Oh, please, just 45 minutes." All right. Thanks. You're great. And she goes to lie down.
Meanwhile, back with Lisa, Calder shows up and notices that she's acting really weird.
And it's like, Lisa?
And we get to learn what it is that Lisa is repeatedly typing over and over and over.
He also calls her Mona Lisa at one point.
Yeah, I think that's a nickname he gives her.
Yeah.
So.
And he's like, that she usually responds to that. That's not good. So he peers over the computer to find out what she's writing, and she's consistently writing, "I live. You will not be saved by the Holy Ghost. You will not be saved by your god plutonium," which is a reference to the nuclear bomb.
In fact, you will not be saved. Pray for death.
Pray for death.
Now, at this point, it should be obvious that she's stopped writing the same thing over and over again, and this is clearly a message specifically for Calder.
Yeah, and Calder's just like, I better leave. And he turns and he sees Susan there. And then Lisa gangs up on him, gives him a great...
Looting!
Gives him a great close.
Looting!
Not really looting.
Okay, yeah, no, she clocks him a good one from behind.
Yeah, she fucking clotheslines. That looked like a fucking Stan Hansen clothesline right there. That looked like he could have knocked anybody.
But then he gets looted off screen.
He doesn't really get looted. It's more like it's a kiss to spread the...
He gets looted, okay?
Okay, he gets looted.
That's the term we're using for this.
Okay, he gets looted and possessed.
So I think at this point, all the survivors have come together to discuss what the hell they should be doing.
And it's at this point that...
Because they don't actually yet realize that anybody is dead.
They think they've fallen the coop. Everybody thinks they've just left. But it's at this point where they start hearing a voice outside. And
Catherine looks outside and she sees...
It's Mullins.
That guy.
It's Mullins.
Outside,
he's like,
saying something.
And his voice is really distorted and completely messed up. And he's like, hey, I've got a message for you. And you're not going to like it. Pray for death. And then he starts falling apart.
Falling apart as the bugs that had previously covered his body now vacate his body. And it is a glorious practical effect.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
It's absolutely fantastic. Say what you will about this movie. It's dumb, but boy, is it glorious.
It has some great effects. And just the whole idea of the bugs controlling this dead body to speak.
To send a message.
I haven't encountered very much media that have had bugs do that. I can think of one other instance, and that's a Naruto novel, so that's irrelevant.
I have a movie where bugs sort of communicate. But not in the way like this, and I'm talking about Phenomena, which is a Dario Argento film. Basis for Clock Tower, my favorite game of all time.
Moving on.
It's also my favorite movie of all time.
Moving on.
But, no, I just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there. But then Calder comes up, and he's singing Amazing Grace and holding a chair.
And
he rips apart the chair.
He pulls off a piece of the chair and...
stabs himself in the throat.
And it's clear that he has been... resisting as much as he could.
Yeah.
The lewdness that has infected him.
And for the rest of the movie, he's still resisting. I think you can see it just a bit.
But yeah, no, he slashes his own neck with a broken piece of chair. And everybody is utterly shocked.
Mind you, in an effort to kill himself.
Yes.
To make sure he doesn't get possessed.
Doesn't quite work out, unfortunately, for him.
It is what it is.
And that's part of the reason why he's such a great part of the movie. Just
and everyone's freaking out and shit, and everybody's ready to just get the hell out of here. So then what happens next? Sorry. What happens next is we missed a scene in the morning.
Yeah.
Or no, everybody starts to try and run. Everybody tries to run away. And they try to get out, and the doors are blocked.
Yeah, the hobos took all their garbage and piled them up against the doors so they can't get out through the doors.
Yep.
And they're just waiting in the alleyways.
And I think it's immediately after, or we missed a scene beforehand, where everybody's looking at all the hobos out from the window, and they're like, do we try to run it? Do we maybe try to get help? And Porn Stash tries to go down.
No, I think that's later on.
Yeah, okay.
That's later on.
That is later on then. Yeah.
But I think just before Calder shows up and slashes his own neck, I think we finally get some exposition dump, courtesy of Father Loomis.
Yes.
Who has basically explained just everything about this movie, about how...
So he goes on a major rant, and basically he's like, oh my god... Vatican's been lying for years. The religion is bullshit. We've been faking it. We've been pretending that evil is from the body instead of what is actually this thing at a quantum mechanical level. And it's like, shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
We were powerless to stop Stop it!
I like the fact that the way he explains it actually kind of leaves open to interpretation the idea that the church was unaware that they were spreading untruth.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like the Brotherhood of Sleep had fabricated a lot of the details regarding the Catholic Church, and that it's only now, once all this shit is starting to happen, that this one priest manages to find out, shit, we've been lying to everybody without even realizing it.
Exactly.
This is a crisis of faith for me. In the movie, it's a crisis.
Yeah, and for the rest of the movie, he is like a complete.
He almost completely shuts down and is just kind of off on his own thing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, so
he's a great character, though.
Yeah,
great.
And after that, they're trying to wander. They're trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
Then Calder shows up, slashes his own neck, and then Lisa, Susan, Keith show up. They kill one of the other guys by looting him. The remaining survivors outside of Walter.
So what happened?
No, we missed the scene.
Yes,
we missed the scene.
I know. I was about to get there.
Okay.
What happens is Walter is like, fuck this. I'm gonna go get Kelly. And he goes into the room, and he
finds that Lisa and Susan have already gotten there with the sick-ass lava lamp of Satan.
Yeah.
And so now when he walks in, it's shooting its load up into the ceiling. And
oh my
then
god!
Shooting...
Shut the fuck up!
It totally is. It totally is because it shoots its load up onto the ceiling.
Don't say that.
And then starts shooting its load down onto Kelly.
It starts looting Kelly really bad.
It's looting Kelly, the worst out of all the lewdness that's been going on so far. And Walter walks in on this. And he is almost immediately beset upon by Lisa and Susan, and runs into a closet and locks himself in.
Yeah, and so the other guys run into their own room, and Father sneaks into his own room
and locks the door behind him.
Oh, by the way, Calder's back too.
Yeah. Like I said, didn't really work out for him.
And it's at this point that I think we need to talk. There's three types of possession in this movie. So there was the indirect one, which was the hobos.
And the bugs and the...
Where they're not dead, where they're not dead, but they're influenced by the evil.
And I kind of hate that part of the movie, to be honest, because it makes it seem like homeless people have no will. And at the very least, very weak-willed. Which, shut up.
I think it's more like they're very susceptible to suggestion.
But
yes.
I still feel that it's like a bad message to be sending about homeless people. Not going to lie.
Hey, if they have homes, they got strong wills. Okay, we need to give them all homes. Let's work on that, America. Let's give our homeless homes.
Give them homes. Give them homes so that the Prince of Darkness doesn't possess them.
Exactly.
Without needing to loot them.
So then there's the second one, which is the direct.
The lewd. The lewd.
In which they're killed and then their bodies are taken over.
And then
they're still alive while their bodies are being taken over directly.
By the lewd,
at which point their old selves are killed. And then there's the third one where they are killed and then brought back to life by Satan.
But it's basically the same as the regular looting.
But the third one, they're not really able to do much. The third one is what Dr. Paul became, where he's on the ground and he doesn't really do much.
Oh yeah.
So that's
he gets killed and is just on the floor in the hallway.
He basically becomes a zombie.
But so the remaining survivors, sans Walter and Father Loomis, barricade themselves in a room. And at one point, they actually try to escape through the window, and Pornstash is the one who tries to make the escape, and the hobos just immediately swarm him, so he has to climb back up through the window.
So, meanwhile, during all of this, they're trying to dig Walter out from the glove.
Yeah, because they end up hearing Walter through the wall, and he has quite the story to tell.
Yeah,
So
you remember Kelly? Yeah, she's getting fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
She's turning into Freddy.
She got this. Yeah, she the superlude. Oh, that is just messing her up royally.
And you know what? It's because she was the chosen one.
Yeah. Catherine actually realizes about this point that she remembers where she recognized the bruise that she saw on Kelly, and realizes that's the Sorcerer's Cross or whatever it's called. I think it was called the Sorcerer's Cross.
Yeah, it's
the Blue Oyster Cult logo.
It's not important.
It's not important. The important thing is that she had it on her. That marked her. And that's why she got super looted.
Yes.
Because they end up realizing that the sick ass lava lamp of Satan was not in its powerful physical form and needed a host body to fully realize its physical form, and it has selected Kelly, which after being super looted, just has a swollen stomach to a ridiculous and ugly degree.
Which, sounds very familiar, but we'll get to that at the end of the review.
But then at one point she basically starts looking like an old lady with like the flabby skin just hanging off of her body, like no muscle.
Like most of her skin is melting off. Really,
basically, like it's just
and
hanging off.
So they're busy digging her out and shit. And
they're digging Walter out.
And during all of this, the priest, Father Loomis,
is just in the one room.
And he's
it's like a furnace or something.
Yeah, he's in the room with the furnace, and he's basically silently contemplating everything.
He's still having his existential crisis.
Yeah, he's having an existential crisis.
And then Calder breaks in. And
Calder doesn't even really break in. He just opens the door. And Father Loomis hides behind
the furnace.
And Calder never notices him.
Calder just notices what he can see off to his side.
A mirror.
And he just stares at it for a good long while.
And it's at this point, I think, Calder realizes what's going on, and he's trying to fight it again.
Or at least that's certainly what it seems like.
Yeah.
That it's very open to interpretation what's going on. Other than that, he's staring at himself in a mirror for some reason.
And it looks like he's like on the verge of tears and whatnot. And I'll say this about Calder. He's a great. He's one of the best things in the movie.
Oh, definitely.
Him and Walter. Walter, Victor Wong, and Donald Pleasance are like the four best things in this movie.
Oh yeah, they carry this movie because Pornstache and Catherine aren't doing shit.
They're about as interesting as a fucking loaf of bread.
But at some point, Kelly finally recovers from the superlude. Kind of. I mean, she looks worse than Freddy Krueger does.
That's saying something.
That is saying something. She looks like a very wet Freddy Krueger. Pun intended.
Oh my god! Damn it!
Now you can't stop thinking about it.
We need to put a insert innuendo here tag on the annotations. Because
I don't think they have any annotations anymore on YouTube.
Because boy, this review went places. And it's going to get even further into places.
Now, for the record, watching the movie itself, the stuff that we're describing as lewd is really just us taking the piss on it. Yeah, it's actually done incredibly non-lewd. We're just thinking too much into it. So it's not as lewd as we're making it out to be.
They're basically spraying water.
They're spraying water into each other's mouths. That's what's happening. They're spitting into each other's mouths for the
most part. Pretty much.
That's it.
Now we're just taking the piss out of it. And so Kelly wakes up. and Walter is having the meltdown of meltdowns right now.
And he's trying to break down the wall on his end.
So, because Satan can move things with his mind, he's telekinetic.
And now he has a physical body that allows him to use that power to its fullest.
So he tries to break down the door.
No, at this point, it's Sarah and Lisa that try to break down the door.
No, well, first she cracks the door, and then they try to break it down, and Walter is just... But I do want to mention, we missed a great line earlier in the movie when Walter's in the closet.
Oh, right, the joke that we were going to explain.
So Catherine is like, Walter, let us know what's going on. Like, tell us what the change in Kelly's condition is. All right, I have to go to the bathroom.
And that's it. And then it just cuts away from him. It's just like, what? What the fuck did he say earlier in the movie? Like, he thought that Kelly was just having a case of the nerves, and he compared it to when he was younger, and he... What were they called? Oh, that's right! What the fuck were they called?
He told... I don't know, but he told a really bad joke to them as well. So he told a really bad joke earlier in the movie. So he's trying to bargain with them, trying to get on their good side. Lisa and Susan, and he's like...
He tells an incredibly racist joke.
Yeah, the basic joke is a daughter brings home a shaman, an African voodoo priest to his mother. And her mother.
And she's like... I said a rich doctor.
Not a witch doctor.
He doesn't explain the witch doctor part. Yeah. He just says the rich doctor, and the rest is you just implied, and it's so terrible and so racist.
Well, he even mentioned bone in his nose and all. It's like, Walter,
come on.
I loved you up until that race. You know what? I'll forgive you, Walter. This is a time where you're trying to survive and you're trying to do anything in your power. So you know what? I'll give you a pass on that one.
But not for that earlier crack about... Fuck, what was it?
I don't know.
Oh, we saw it and we just both collectively were like, what? We just simultaneously, completely independent of each other, uttered, what? Because we were in just such disbelief that he had said that. As though it were an actual thing.
Yeah, it's, oh my god, so fucking dumb.
I wish I could remember it because of how completely stupid it is. But it's, the kind of stupid that's like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense for this character.
Yeah. Wyndham is the one with the bugs, not...
I don't care.
So Frank was the one
I don't
with the
care.
bugs.
They're dead.
Oh,
they had so little character.
Okay, whatever.
But so yeah, shit's going down. Catherine and the guys in the blocked off room finally managed to open up the wall and pull Walter through, but by this point, he's already beset upon by Lisa and Susan, who have broken through the window and are grabbing at him. And shit just goes so tits up. Kelly is just... At one point, she spots a hand mirror on the floor and reaches her hand...
into the mirror!
She reaches her fingers through the mirror. Not breaking the mirror... like into the dimension of the mirror, and it's at this point that I realize that this movie is pulling shit out of its ass in the best possible way.
Oh, it's so glorious!
It is such a glorious. So she ends up.
It's at this point we should explain what the anti-god is. The anti-god was a god that came to Earth, and we banished it to the anti-verse. It was made of antimatter. So,
it's stuck in the mirror world.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I just love how it's complete and utter bullshit that now we're introducing a mirror world physics into all this shit. And it makes so much goddamn sense because of everything else that's been explained about the anti-God and Satan at this point. I was like, this is complete and utter bullshit, but it makes complete sense because it's complete and utter bullshit.
And you know the worst part? It's theoretically possible. That's the worst part. Well, that's the best thing about all of this movie. It's, you know, it's definitely, like, realistically it's not going to happen, but theoretically it could.
But yeah, so at one point, Catherine gets out into the hallway and tries to run somewhere, and she gets grabbed by the dude who was just on the floor, because he's just been there, laying there the entire time, and suddenly he's a jump scare, and it's a very effective one. It's like, oh, I knew that was going to happen, but it was still good.
I couldn't stop myself. Damn it! And so everybody decides to come outside and start attacking the thing.
One of the survivors dies. Don't recall who he is. He's not Porn Stash or the professor, so it doesn't matter.
He's Mullet Man. He had a mullet. So we'll call him.
He did have a mullet man. We'll call him.
He was literally the least. He was like he was the most.
He was the one character that you were pretty okay with him dying because it's like, oh, this is one of the only survivors that we know absolutely nothing about,
exactly.
Or at least we can't remember anything about him. So it makes sense that he would be off.
Yeah.
But
So we ended up. So he ended up dying, and so the survivors started fighting back. And then, oh, I forgot. So when they brought Walter through the wall, Lisa and Susan also came through.
Yeah.
And they beat the shit out of them. They fucking threw them out the window.
Yeah, they threw them out the goddamn window. Holy shit.
Oh my god. Oh, it was so good. It was just
like at this point, everything has gone tits up.
By tits up. By tits up, we mean tits up. Independent.
At some point, Kelly gets into the boiler room. Father Loomis is still behind the. He's still behind the furnace. He's just trying to read his Bible.
Kelly gets into the thing. And
she spots the mirror. Calder's like, "Hey, it's a mirror," and Kelly just starts reaching her hand out to the mirror and starts passing through, because this is a much larger mirror, much more accommodating for a human body.
Indeed.
And then Father Loomis, well, he finds an axe.
Father Loomis gets out of his existential crisis for 5 fucking minutes. That's all we need from you. Just
finds a fire axe on the ground, uses it to sever Kelly's arm, which gets sucked into the Mirrorverse.
And we're like, yay!
And then she grows it back! No! She Piccolo's that shit!
No! So then he's like, ah!
And it still makes sense because, you know, it's all bullshit.
He dismembers her head.
He decapitates her.
And we're like...
And she just picks it
back
up.
Just like, yay! And then she
picks it back up and puts it back on. I was like,
I
fucking knew it!
So then she uses her telepathy to basically...
To push Father Loomis back and pin him against the wall using the furnace.
Yeah,
so that he will no longer be a factor in her trying to bring her dad back over.
So then Catherine Danford...
Fuck it! She
fucking sacrifices herself.
She tackles Kelly into the mirror. They both go tumbling in. Porn Stash shows up to witness this. Blinding light in the mirror. The Satan is sealed inside the Mirrorverse.
Immediately after Catherine pushed both of them in, Father, he's like, ha! Ha!
Shatters the mirror. Blinding flashes of light. The Mirrorverse is sealed off. The lewds that had been in the dead people are no longer able to sustain themselves, and they just evaporate.
They die.
So there's still. So now it's a church full of a bunch of dead bodies with a couple dead bodies outside.
And then the hobos leave.
The hobos just leave.
And Walter's just like, yep, I'm out.
It's like, yep, no.
Walter's the first to get the fuck out of here. He leaves.
He leaves. Comes back with like the police and ambulances and shit.
And Father's faith in religion is restored.
somehow.
Ironically.
Also...
Oh, no, because... So, it makes sense, because throughout the entire thing, he was praying to Jesus to give him strength through these tough times, and apparently Jesus answered.
I guess.
I don't know what you mean. I mean,
I just figured he finally manned up.
I don't know what you mean, like...
Acts of God are better than acts of men.
I don't know what you mean. Father Loomis. 9 people are dead.
Now I feel
not much God there
I feel
for you.
before we get to the actual finale, actual end of the movie, I feel we should mention a subplot that we did briefly mention before, but we didn't go into further detail of. So
the broadcast from 1999. It's in their dreams. It is actually from the future,
and it's
actually using it via tachyon particles.
And Father Loomis was the one who was explaining that everybody within the proximity of the sick-ass lava lamp of Satan had the same dream, which was this broadcast from the future, and that it wasn't just a random dream. It was a message. The question was, what was the message?
The message was to prevent a catastrophe from happening in the year 1999.
And Father Loomis first explains this to the professor and then to everybody else. And since everybody had the same dream, they're a little dismissive of it at first, but they pretty quickly get on board with accepting it.
Yeah. They're here to stop the apocalypse, everyone. Let's do it.
So, yeah, it's trying to stop the apocalypse.
And and it's at the end of the movie that we get the whole broadcast. And the apocalypse that they're trying to prevent from the year 1999
is the return of Catherine.
What?
And then Pornstash wakes up in his bed, looks over at a mirror on his wall, goes over, and just as he's about to touch it, the film ends.
Well, we missed one of the greatest memes in history. So immediately afterwards, after that broadcast dream, he wakes up, and he's all sweaty, and he's just, oh God, it was just a dream. Turns over and sees Catherine in that makeup. Oh yeah! Wakes up from another dream. And he's just,
the dream within the dream. I forgot about the dream within the dream.
And that's where that GIF comes from. By the way, if anybody's seen that.
Clearly, you have seen more meme GIFs than I have.
I have.
Clearly.
GIFs.
Fuck you. That's how it's pronounced. Fuck you. You have to pronounce it that way from now on.
So he wakes up and he's like.
He goes over to the mirror, tries touching it, and before his hand makes contact,
the movie ends.
The movie just ends. We get the end credit sequence. All that.
So you know what? No more thick ass lava lamp.
But if anybody actually bothered to watch the trailer for this movie, which is low key super spoilery,
very spoilery,
we actually see that he does make contact with the mirror, and then the film slams out of the mirror, and that's why it was called The Prince of Darkness, because the title was inside the mirror the whole time.
Oh, that's why they call it Prince of Darkness, because it was inside the mirror. And that's why they call it Inside. That's a brick joke, everyone.
That is a reference to a playthrough that we're doing over on his channel, which you can definitely check out. I will include a link at the end of this video on the YouTube version of this. If it's on some later podcast release, it won't have the annotation, but it's me, ProtoMet, and Vampire
the
other guy who was supposed to be here, which unfortunately couldn't make it.
Yeah.
It was.
That was
fun. That was fun. That was Prince of Darkness. That was an incredibly fun movie. You thought the movie was going to suck because of certain circumstances, which we'll get into later. And then by the end of the movie, you realize, no, that was a really good movie.
See, I've heard stories about Prince of Darkness before I'd actually seen it. I heard that it was not a good movie. And you know what? I wholeheartedly disagree. it's not from a storytelling point. It's not a great movie, but it is such
an incredibly fun movie.
It is it's a dumb movie. I'll say that. It's a very dumb movie, but it's so fun.
And I love the fact that the big climax of the movie is full of all this dumb, stupid, come out of nowhere bullshit. Because at least the movie bothered to set up that the stuff that has to do with the anti-god is complete and utter bullshit, but it's the facts.
Yeah.
So the fact that they just pull so much shit out of their ass for the climax, it's
glorious.
It's so fucking glorious, and I completely appreciate it. It makes complete sense within the context of the film because the film bothered to explain that it was going to be bullshit.
And Lucas had one of the best quotes after the movie. I won't like spoil the entire thing. I'll do a paraphrasing of it. He said, "If this is the worst John Carpenter movie, I can't wait to see the rest." So that should tell you how he feels about this movie.
This was aces.
I would honestly rate it a 7 out of 10.
I would also give it a 7 out of 10.
While on the technical scale, it's nothing new, but the special effects are pretty neat. But some of the other ones are actually kind of dumb. Some of them are.
The practical effects have been done better in other movies. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
But but they work. They're well done. They're very believable.
Yeah.
I mean, within the context of believing that this could happen, and just overall, this was such an incredibly fun movie to watch through.
Yeah, it's not one of those. It's not fucking Psycho or...
I will openly admit that I found myself rather constantly switching back and forth between watching this movie and catching up on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't able to hold my full attention for a good chunk of it, but the climax makes it all worth it.
And you know what's best about this review? I've managed to remember it all without having to look at Wikipedia.
He actually was not looking at Wikipedia for the good chunk of it. We thought we would have to rely on Wikipedia to find it out. Turns out we actually didn't.
No, I just needed IMDb for the cast.
For the cast that nobody cared about.
Of course, except Victor Wong and Robert. No, not Donald Pleasance.
Yeah, there we go.
Robert Pleasance. Who the fuck's that? Is that his brother or something? So I'm sure you're wondering why we're doing this.
No.
Just let me do it. I'm sure you're wondering why we're doing it this early in September, but Spoopy Games! You can't do it in just October. You gotta do it in September too.
I think I actually covered this when I was talking about how I found this earlier on the video.
That's true,
the whole annual 2 months of Halloween. That's why we're doing it. It's basically a bit of an unofficial holiday extension here in the family.
Can't wait to do Black Christmas on Christmas.
I'm kidding. I'm not gonna lie. That thought actually did cross my mind. I don't know if we'll actually do that.
No. I don't know if Vampire Jekyll has Black Christmas. I'll have to ask him. Black Christmas is a great movie.
We definitely do have to thank Vampire Jekyll for actually owning this movie and letting us watch it with him.
Yeah. He's as much a horror fan as I am, and I know ProtoMet's not nearly as much of a horror fan as me.
I can appreciate horror.
Yeah, but
I just won't watch a whole lot of it. Not that I'm utterly scared of it. It's just like most of it just doesn't interest me.
Oh, don't lie. Fatal Frame scared the fuck out of you.
Shut your whore mouth.
Oh, okay. All right. This is Motorcycle Balls.
I'm ProtoMet. Definitely not going to explain that Fatal Frame reference. At least not yet.
Not yet.
This has been ProtoBalls Talk podcast. See ya.
Have a good one.